I know last time, Andy, we dove into your career, so we're going to touch on that a bit, but obviously I want to get your perspective with Shane Beamer and kind of currently what's going on with Carolina football. But again, you're from Concord, North Carolina.
Always.
Your first year at Carolina, 02, right?
Yep.
That was your first year.
02,
and so
yep.
you got to South Carolina at a very interesting time. Obviously, Lou Holtz, I'm sure the opportunity to come to South Carolina and play for a legend, what he was building in Columbia, back-to-back Outback Bowl wins.
Sure.
Just talk about your recruitment. I think we talked about this last time, but you were recruited, I think, as a DN both ways in high school. But the opportunity to play for a legend, Hall of Famer Lou Holtz, I mean, SEC, but how easy was the decision, or was it a decision that came down to the wire?
I mean, for me, it was getting the decision out of the way, and not in a sense of not knowing where I wanted to go, but looking for the opportunity of where I felt like I could have the chance to play, succeed, all that stuff. Growing up in North Carolina, I had coaches around me in high school that played at Chapel Hill, grew up a huge Chapel Hill fan, even when, the first time Mac Brown was there, Dean Smith era, that's what we watched every Saturday. Because I promise you can still go up to Charlotte and Concord on a Saturday, and very rarely, if it was a local Lincoln Financial game, you wouldn't see an SEC game. You'd always see ACC.
Who can forget those noon Lincoln
right? So a lot of it, grew up a huge North Carolina fan, but again, played linebacker in high school. And again, had my heart set on North Carolina and stuff, but just, as you go through the process, where people start showing you love and showing you where, they think you can be a fit for the program. And obviously at the time with South Carolina, they just came off back-to-back Outback Bowl wins. Obviously the program was changing, seeing where the turn of the tide was. And to me, it was just a place that was different. It just felt comfortable. I felt comfortable with the coaches. And, and even a testament more of even the guys that I got to play, high school and middle school ball with from 7th grade on. I wanted to make sure my focus was on my senior year playing, rather than sitting here worrying about every weekend where we were going, who I was going to possibly look to commit to and stuff. But it was just, again, it came down to just to a comfort level. And, and that's just kind of where I based it from there. But, I don't regret my decision at all. Right. To be able to play in the SEC, be able to start, contribute, team captain, all that stuff, man, and obviously live here, met my wife here. Yeah. It's all fallen into place, as it should.
Yeah. Now, obviously, again, you played for Holtz, legend, and it's funny, man, I know we talked about this off air, but you, Kimry, Strick, I'm able to talk with all you guys and made some great relationships, and all it's what's so cool about it, man, is, and one of the reasons I love doing the interviews and stuff is, I think it's important to talk to people from different eras and generations. Like I've had like Brandon Bennett on, and, Tanny Hill, and because everybody sets the foundation for the next generation.
That's right.
Like when you're putting on those guys putting on the jersey this year, they're putting it on for the guys before them, the guys that come after, all that jazz, whatever. But talking to the Holtz era guys, like it was a very unique time because Coach Holtz is truly one of a kind. And also the guys that play for Holtz and Spurrier. I mean, most guys are lucky if they get to play for one Hall of Famer. You play for two. God.
Oh, yeah.
But I know, again, you expanded on this last time, but your interactions with Holtz, I know you have like hilarious stories. And of course, your buddy Kimry does the all-time Holtz impression. He loves to pull that thing out.
It. Oh,
he
loves
man.
To
pull that thing out.
Oh, and he's, believe me, I don't, he's probably got a better retention of memory too, especially because he was there during the whole years of the,
Dark
0-11, man, like
days.
all that stuff. And I think that's just even, even the thing of the era of where Holtz learned to be a coach.
Yeah.
Woody Hayes is who he learned under.
Oh, yeah.
I can promise you Woody Hayes was a MFer, And I think a lot of it is just even the psychological aspect of what that was Holtz's approach. It was almost kind of more the thing of like, saying you couldn't do something and I'm going to prove Coach wrong and do it. Just that was his kind of method of motivating. But I think a lot of it though, too, just being the speaker that he was, being the motivational person that he was, you're foolish not to sit there and listen to the aspects of things in which he's trying to apply to you as a day-to-day, as a football player, but how much of that can carry over into life, but I think a lot of it is too, it was just, when it comes to the different styles of approaching, I may have said it that first time, I know with Lou Holtz, it'd be to a point where you're just like, it is a Tuesday, it is week 6. And you're like, we may have dropped 2 games and you're like, oh my God, what are we doing today on a Tuesday? And you're like trying to find the schedule just to have a rundown, to have your, and that was the thing. It was always just being prepared with him.
Right.
be prepared for anything, to where when Spurrier got there, I mean, I can promise you from the day we had our first practice there under Steve Spurrier to the day he left, it was the exact same practice. Right. And there was not much difference other than maybe different types of scale,
right.
Of how that's.
I mean, you're talking about a guy that basically ran the same plays at Carolina that he ran at Florida.
Man, well, even when he was coaching for the AFL,
yeah.
I'm not joking. I'm sitting there watching that stuff on TV and the exact same signals, the exact same play calls, and they had him mic'd up.
Yeah.
And like just sitting there calling out plays to my wife. I'm like, look, it's going to be a deep post across the middle, deep post across the middle, touchdown, and it's just kind of crazy to see that whole evolution of football, and really even playing in the different systems. Because I mean, even with Holtz and Skip, his system was more of a spread type style of offense. But, I think even as we started going through the woes and just struggling and trying to figure things out, I mean, that was even during the era with the whole Orange Crush. I mean, you're hitting Tennessee, Florida, Clemson, all within a 4-week period.
Yeah.
And you're always trying to they're trying to put the best players on the field to succeed. And I mean, I think it's just, everything's always in retrospect. And it wasn't like that. The hard work wasn't there. People weren't trying or anything like that. Sometimes it's, you were playing better teams.
I like to remind fans, everybody else is trying to win too.
Everybody. I mean, it's
people forget, but it's like they're trying to beat us also.
It is, and
they're fighting for their jobs too.
Oh man, right? I honestly, man, there was a kid that I coached when I was at Heathwood and stuff, and I told him, I was like, look, like you're going to have the best bonds between the guys that you're getting ready to go to college with. You're going to sweat it out together. You're going to compete. You're going to lift. You're going to do all this stuff.
Right.
But when it comes down to it, guess how many names are announced on Saturday? 11.
Yeah.
Do you want your name to be one of those, or do you want your buddies? And that, when it comes down to it, man, it's competition.
Yeah, exactly.
And so a lot of it, I think that's just even where I am extremely thankful that I did go under and learn the game of college football under Lou Holtz, just because he was so detail oriented, the small things, the finer things, an inch here, head placement there, hand placement, all that stuff matters. Now, a lot of that's just learning you think about that stuff when you're doing the drills, when the bullets start flying, as they say, the game starts, it's playing and reacting, doing your job. But I'm thankful because that's where I learned to become such a successful blocker in the line of scrimmage, just understanding technique. And, where when Spurrier got there, a lot of his, just again, on the retrospective coaching where, again, the whole area, you're focused on stance, where your weight's distributed, how you come on football. Spurs like, go 15 yards. If you're not going 15 yards, next guy getting them to go 15 yards. Not 13, go 15. And so it's just how it was broken down. But Spurrier's mindset was, one, keeping it loose, fast pace. How many reps can we get in a practice? Yeah. Because the more that you do it, the more familiarized with it, reaction. And to me, it was so much more of a relaxed atmosphere where you just didn't feel like you were just tight the whole time to react and play, and you could be loose. You knew your job, go out and play. And truthfully, I think that was the thing, even when when Spurrier first got there, was best man's going to play. Don't matter if you're a freshman, don't matter if you're a senior, you got to go out there and prove it every day. And you have to have that mindset. And even as a professional, even to the next level, it's your job, man. And so I think a lot of that's just, even as a developmental standpoint, Spurrier to me treated us more like young men, like a professional, in the sense of trying to progress you going into that next step if you're fortunate enough to go there. But it was into the same sense, like if you're not cutting it, next man up.
Right.
So